Warning: this video may contain some graphic details that some viewers may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Have you ever heard of the CEO of Aldi being kidnapped? No, this isn't a joke. This actually happened to the German supermarket giant CEO in 2001 when he was out for a leisurely bike ride near his home. In today's video, we will look into how one of Germany's richest men was kidnapped right from under the noses of his security team. We will also look at what led up to the kidnapping, the weird details surrounding it, and how the billionaire CEO managed to escape the kidnappers' grasp despite them holding him hostage for over 48 hours. But before we start, remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more such amazing stories. And if you love reading, stick around till the end to get a free book. Meet Joseph Schmidt, the CEO of Aldi Nord. Joseph was born on June 1939 in the city of Essen in Germany. He was the son of the founder of the retail chain Aldi, Carl Schmidt. But despite growing up in a wealthy household, young Joseph wasn't interested in taking over the family business. In fact, after finishing school, he joined the military. Later, he went on to study business administration and economics. At the time, Aldi was a small grocery chain. It had started in 1946 by Joseph's father. By the time Joseph finished his education and joined Aldi, the company had become quite successful. So when Joseph's father decided to retire, he offered the reins of the company to his elder brother Theo. However, Theo didn't want to take over the business either. So the job fell to Joseph. Unlike his brothers, Joseph was interested in the business, and he took the company to new heights. Under his leadership, Aldi grew from being a small regional chain to becoming Germany's biggest food retailer. As of 2021, Aldi employs over 140,000 people across Europe and has over 10 billion euros in revenue. Today, Joseph lives in Essen, Germany. He owns an estate worth millions of dollars in the area. Now let's talk about Joseph's daily routine. He was a firm believer in starting the day early. He would wake up every morning at 5 a.m. and go for a bike ride. He would go on these rides alone without any security. He enjoyed cycling since childhood and saw it as a great way to keep fit. He would also spend some time gardening at the estate. He enjoyed working in his garden and often spoke about how much satisfaction it gave him. After spending some time in the garden, he would prepare his own breakfast. He didn't have a cook or a maid to do this for him. He believed in living a simple life and doing things himself. After breakfast, he would get down to work. On March 11, 2001, Joseph got up as usual, spent some time in his garden, and had breakfast. That evening, he told his wife that he was going for his daily bike ride. He told her he would be back soon and asked her not to wait for him. She agreed, but told him to be careful and come back quickly. Joseph lived in an affluent neighborhood. The houses were far apart, and there wasn't much traffic at night, so he felt it was safe to go for his evening ride alone. However, he had no idea he was being followed. Joseph had been cycling for only about 15 minutes when two men on a motorcycle blocked his path. One of the men jumped off the motorcycle and grabbed Joseph. Before Joseph knew what was happening, he was bundled onto the motorcycle. Both the men on the bike wore helmets, so Joseph couldn't see their faces. They sped away from the scene, and he knew he had been kidnapped. Joseph struggled to free himself from his bonds, but they were tight and he couldn't manage to do so. The kidnappers drove for around 20 minutes before stopping. Then they covered Joseph's head with a cloth and put him in the trunk of a waiting car. They drove for some time before stopping again. This time, they brought Joseph out of the car and pushed him inside an isolated farmhouse. They blindfolded Joseph and made him sit on a chair. Soon, another man entered the room and removed the cloth covering Joseph's face. To his surprise, the man recognized him and introduced himself as Marcus. Marcus was the son of Joseph's brother. Apparently, Marcus had fallen into bad company, and his friends were the ones who had kidnapped Joseph. The gang demanded a ransom of 10 million euros in exchange for Joseph's safe return. They left Joseph alone in the farmhouse and returned after a few days to check if he had escaped. They also changed the locks on the doors and windows to make sure he wouldn't be able to leave. Meanwhile, news of Joseph's kidnapping spread like wildfire. His family and friends were worried sick, and the police had launched a massive manhunt to locate him. However, neither the police nor anyone else was able to find the CEO. Days passed, and the kidnappers did not return to collect the ransom. Joseph began to lose hope and thought he might never see his family again. However, he refused to give up. On the 48th hour of being held captive, Joseph managed to escape. It was 1 a.m., and everyone in the farmhouse was asleep. Joseph managed to open one of the windows and slipped out. He ran as fast as he could from the scene, not stopping until he reached a gas station where he called the police. The police arrived at the farmhouse only to find it empty. They searched the area but were unable to locate Joseph. They did, however, find a pair of his eyeglasses lying around. They collected the glasses and sent them to the lab for Joseph's DNA. Meanwhile, Joseph returned home. He was traumatized but relieved to be back with his family. He refused to go into the details of his captivity, but it's believed that he managed to escape because the kidnappers underestimated him. They assumed he would give up and become totally despondent after the first few days, but he didn't. The police investigation revealed some interesting facts about the kidnapping. It turns out that Marcus had taken his friends to the farmhouse specifically to kidnap his uncle. One of the men had actually worked at Aldi, and he had given the others information about Joseph's daily routine. However, the police weren't able to gather enough evidence to charge the men, and all of them were set free. Although the kidnappers were never caught, Joseph was given an award for his bravery. He was given the German Federal Cross of Merit First Class by Germany's President Johannes Rau. He was commended for overcoming his fears and escaping from his captors. In an interview after the incident, Joseph said he was grateful to be alive, and that his ordeal had taught him the importance of never giving up hope. He also thanked the police and his family for their support during his difficult time. The bizarre kidnapping of Joseph Schmidt remains one of the most talked about cases in Germany. It is a reminder that even the most successful people are not immune to crime, and that no one should ever underestimate their worth. Since the kidnapping, Joseph has taken extra precautions to protect himself. He no longer goes for evening bike rides alone and always has bodyguards with him. He also travels with a team of security personnel. Despite the trauma he experienced, Joseph continues to run Aldi Nord. He is still passionate about his work and takes great pride in the success of the company. Under his leadership, Aldi has continued to grow and expand, becoming one of the most successful retailers in the world. So what can we learn from this story? First of all, it shows us that no one is safe from crime. No matter how rich or powerful you are, you should always be aware of your surroundings and take necessary precautions to protect yourself. Secondly, it teaches us that we should never give up hope. No matter how bad a situation may seem, there is always a way out. And lastly, it tells us that we should be grateful for what we have. We often take our loved ones and possessions for granted, but they can be taken away from us in an instant. So we should cherish every moment we have with them. If you love reading, we have something special for you. Get a free book at the website. Simply click on the link provided and sign up to receive your free book. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.